have a prospective member here today, Javon.
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay, Chris, thank you. Okay, you want to just say a few words real quick?
I'll wait till I'm introducing Kevin.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Right, great to have you. Javon, I see you. Do you want to say a few words, who you are? And you have to unmute yourself, Javon.
It looks like he's driving.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, Javon, that's okay. If you can pull over safely and have an opportunity to say hello, that would be great.
And Jay and everyone else in the club, I informed Javon that the Rotary Club Board of Directors has approved his membership application, and we'll be in touch with him shortly for the next steps to official membership.
Great. That's nice to hear. Thank you, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other visitors? I don't think so. All right. So with that, I want to call for any announcements from our committee members. I know I have a few, but I want to see if anyone else has any announcements. Okay.
I guess I can mention, since Chris is on the line, that she and two other members of the Chestnut Hill Rotary Club met by Zoom with Karen Mazzarella, former assistant governor. She is now president of our Guy Gundaker Rotary Foundation, about the requirements to raise money and contribute money for a Gundaker Foundation vocational scholarship in Art Judson's name. So we will be back to our club foundation with more information about that once Chris and the other members of the Chestnut Hill Club sort out what we'd like to present to the club foundation.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you. Yeah. And
Jay, from the Public Image Committee,
yes.
I would just like to remind everybody that we have this beautiful, professionally produced video, and now we really need to spread it and get it out there into the world. So I will ask you again to please send some emails or post on Facebook or whatever social media platform you like to use. The more people who see it, the more prospective members for Rotary, not only in our club, but in the world. So thank you for that.
Right, thank you. Are there other announcements? I'll make a few on behalf of Service. Patricia and the Happy Hour group have been working hard on service projects, particularly ones that are outdoor, which is a little easier and safer in today's world. A quick note on some ones that are coming up. One is Habitat for Humanity Restore on September 26th, and that's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There'll be a sign up going out next week in the newsletter. They are going to be working primarily outdoors, so just a note of that. And the store is in South Philadelphia. Next is Wick Historic Home and Garden on October 17th, and that's going to be in the morning. We don't have the exact times yet. And then we have on November 5th, Mana. That is indoors. I have been personally volunteering pretty often there recently because they need volunteers. And I can attest that they're extremely safe. They always were anyway prior to all of this, but they're doing a great job at maintaining everything and being very organized. So we're organizing a group of 10 people. The Happy Hour group started this, and this is for November 5th. It's in the evening, so it might be a little more available to people who are working all day long, and it's from 5 to 8 p.m. And finally, on November 14th is Love Your Park Fall Service Day. That is obviously outdoors, working to prepare the park from the busy summer and transitioning to preparing for the winter. So there's a lot happening that way. And the other thing I wanted to mention on social, I spoke to Kelly last night, who could not make it today. I expressed to her how much we liked the online bingo night that we had. She is suggesting and wanted to mention to the club, perhaps do it again very soon, but have it a complete social event rather than fundraising. So what's the sense from the club? Or is this something that you all would be interested in?
I thought the bingo night was a huge success, and I think everybody liked it, and everybody had a fun with it. So in these times, you know, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, good.
Jay, I was curious, why is she feeling like this should not be a fundraiser? Is there a reason we should not or could not consider doing that? Even maybe if we just lowered the ticket price to $10 or something?
You know, I didn't get into that too much. It's a good question. I would say we could still do it as a fundraiser. That hasn't been decided. I said I would at least bring it to the club and see, you know, what the temperature in the room is for that. I will say that we should have a license to do this. So that's something we discovered, you know, right before that. So that could be a technical problem.
Oh,
But,
in which case just doing it as a social would be allowed, right? Without a license?
Yes, yeah, I
Okay.
would think so. Yep.
All right, that
So
makes-
we'll look into all of that. So everyone thinks it's at least a good idea to try it again. Okay, sounds good. Are there any other announcements? Okay, we'll move on then in the program. I want to take the opportunity to formally introduce our Assistant Governor, Chris Wolski, who will welcome our District Governor, Kevin Katarynick. And I, you know, normally at a club meeting, we would all stand and welcome him. But I don't know whether we can do that today. Maybe we can. I don't know. We can all stand in our
That's
homes.
fine. Please don't. It's okay.
I just thought it was funny, but anyway.
It is, especially when it happens at a meeting, Jay, and you just see everybody go.
Right, yeah,
like
right. Yeah, you want to see parts of people you normally want to see. So, but Chris, you want to say a few words? Chris Wolski?
Yes, I will. I'll just start with saying I understand that at Zoom meetings, when people are home, sometimes they only worry about what they're wearing on top. So that will be very interesting. Anyways, it's a pleasure to be meeting with the Philadelphia Club again. It's very different from any other meetings I've been to with your club. The good thing is that I'm not in Philadelphia right now. I'm 600 miles away in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, in the mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains. And you can see the mountains in the background. It's a pretty foggy day today, so you don't see all of them, but it's wonderful. And anyways, I can join you. It's great. So that's a wonderful thing. That's about all I'll say about myself. I'm a member of the Chestnut Hill Club, just so you know. This is my third year of being an assistant governor. And I have the pleasure today of introducing District Governor Kevin Katarynick to you. Kevin became a Rotarian in 2012, and he joined the King of Prussia Club, and he's been a fireball ever since. He's got on the board in 2014, became club president in 2015-16, then was an assistant governor starting in 2016-17, and he's been very active in the district, so just doing lots and lots of things for Rotary. And now he is district governor. And recently he became a Paul Harris Fellow. Kevin was born and raised in King of Prussia, and he lives in King of Prussia now with his wife, Linda. The way he met Linda was he coached her women's softball team, and that paid off. Both of them enjoy sports, and they both regularly run 5Ks and 13Ks, 13 kilometer race is a half marathon, which I think is just fantastic if you can do that. I can't even do a 5K, so I think that's very impressive. Kevin graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with a degree in administration of justice, and he has worked in public safety his whole career. He's been employed by the Upper Merion Township for the last 21 years. He's also active in other community organizations. So he's member of the King of Prussia Volunteer Firefighters Association. He was president, vice president, and chairman of the board for them. And now he's chief operating officer for the King of Prussia Firefighters Association. So without further ado, I will let Kevin tell you about putting ducks in a row. Kevin?
Thank you, Chris. It's great to be here. I'm just sad that I can't meet in person. I was looking forward to coming down and going to the Pyramid Club and visiting everybody. But hopefully in the springtime or in the next couple months, I'll be able to, we can have some fellowship together in person. So you have a general background about me. Yes, born and raised in King of Prussia. The only time I didn't spend here was when I went out to the University of Pittsburgh. I graduated college in '96. I stayed out there for another year. My sisters call that my 5th year of college, even though I wasn't in college. It was my 5th year of school because I was out there enjoying things. But I wanted to live out in Pittsburgh. I really wanted to stay out there. I tried to get a job with the county. Allegheny County, you have to be a resident for a year before you could get hired, at least back at that point. So I ended up moving back and joined the volunteer fire company, like 97-ish. I became a member down there, and at that point after that, a couple years after, I used to work for Montgomery County 911, job in Upper Merion Township open, which is in King of Prussia. So everything I do is now currently in my hometown. Linda and I bought a house here 5 years ago. She's from the Norristown area. I'm from King of Prussia originally. We bought a house here. We settled here. So I work here. I play here. I get aggravated here by the politics, whatever. But so really quick, I just want to mention, we have Joan Vittori to thank for all this. She was the head of the nominating committee, the selection process. And it's entertaining because I tell the story and I joke about it, but we had a discussion, my club, would you be interested in doing this? And Joan had said to me, have you ever thought about doing this? And I wanted to put my name in and go through the process just to see what the process was like. So Joan and the rest of the committee worked with me to make sure that I work every other weekend. So when they were having their interviews for district governor, made sure to work with me that I could schedule the right time to get in there and get out of there and get back to work. So I was supposed to be in at 6 o'clock in the morning, had my interview at 8, came back into work at about 11. I had somebody cover the first 4 hours for me at work. 12 o'clock, my phone was ringing and Joan Vittori was calling me and saying, hey, congratulations, we selected you as district governor. And the first thing out of my mouth was, when do you need to know by? And Joan was like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, no. She goes, well, who do you need to talk to? I said, well, I want to talk to Linda. She goes, didn't you talk to Linda? And I said, yeah, I did, but I want to call her. So I called Linda, and Linda goes, well, what'd you tell him? I said, I told him I need to talk to you. She goes, what, are you crazy? We already talked about this, blah, blah, blah. What I was hoping for is that my wife would be the voice of reason at that point and say, do you really want to do this? But I'm glad that I accepted this position. It's been a challenge because of the way things are nowadays. But we're pushing through it, and I think I was selected to be governor for this year for a reason, and it might be June 30th until we figure out exactly what that reason is, but we'll get there. We're making good progress. So with that said, the other thing I want to comment on really quick is I always enjoy Chris's background when she gets on these meetings, because every meeting that she's been on to introduce me, she's been down south, and I don't care how foggy it is today, that view is still better than the view that I have up here. Secondly, you guys have done a fantastic job on that video. I was completely impressed. And kudos to your club and the public image and everybody that put that together, the hard work. You guys should be very proud of that. And I hope to see that go out everywhere. So my work, public safety. I work for the township. I work as a police dispatcher for the police department. My job there is communications. And I take that very seriously. I have to tell the police where they're going, what they're getting into, exactly what is involved. I want them all to go home safely. I want everybody to go home safely. I want every situation to be resolved peacefully. Communication is key, and I take that aspect of my job and apply that to Rotary and apply that to every other organization or situation that I'm involved in. I will not flood people's inboxes with emails and overburden and overload you. You will not read an email from me that'll take you an hour to read, that will use, a lot of verbiage that doesn't need to be in there. Any communication that I send out to be concise and to the point, and infrequent, only when needed. We'll have some emails coming out. Jay can attest to that. There has not been overloaded of information. I think it's useless. I think it turns people off. So that's one of my major keys to leadership is good communication. We're doing a newsletter this year. It's coming out every other month, roughly. We could do it frequently, but every month, but I think we would lose some interest. I think we would lose, it's tough to garner or gather material for those things sometimes. So I think we're doing a pretty good job with getting that information out there on every other month. Also, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but our website, I've been doing videos every month. Brian Casey posted a video last night for Basic Education and Literacy Month. Last month, I had a video put up for membership. I've perfected my technique. I don't look like a weirdo on screen anymore doing this, reading behind me and everything like that. As you can see, my computer camera isn't the best in the world. And because of the way things are nowadays, it's tough to buy a external camera. They've been on back order for a number of months, so it's just been a challenge. So I've had to make do with what I had, but we finally put together a professional product that only took 3 months. With that said, like I said, communication is key. We make sure that we get stuff out on our Facebook page, on our social media outlets. I make sure that I'm not inundating people with email. So if you get an email from the district governor, it's probably important. That's the way that I want it to be. That's the way I want to handle communications. I want, when it comes through, you see that it's probably important. My second key to leadership is I've gone to too many events, not just, I'm not going to say Rotary, but there's been a couple in Rotary. There's been a handful for work, for training. State police are awful at it. A lot of stuff for the fire company has been way too long and is useless. So I put a value on people's time, and I will provide value for your time and attendance. That's always the way I've worked. Jay can attest to that. I pledged that at pre-pets to them. I had nothing but very positive feedback on our pre-pets. I pledged that at pets to continue that at pets, had nothing but very positive feedback at pets. And then everything kind of went into the garbage with COVID-19, and I had to rethink our process with doing everything. We had a different strategy going online with our training assembly. And at that point, I think we were able to hit the nail right on the head. We were able to bring in John Huco, who is our General Secretary for Rotary. We would normally have been able to have him at an annual training assembly, but I think we utilized our time very well, and I think people found value in that. In addition, we had some other training sessions that we've been lacking, like on best practices for treasurer and secretary, and I think the people that attended those really found value in that. And in fact, the one thing that I was told is they were too short. And that's my fault. I was worried about attendance and being boring. However, apparently it was well received. So we will continue to do things like that. I'm working on some annual training or some quarterly training coming up. I'm working with having a session in October about racism and inclusion and things like that. Working to bring in a speaker from Alaska to speak to us about her knowledge, firsthand knowledge of the situation. So that information will be coming out soon. But like I said, I'm going to provide value to that time. I don't want Rotarians to invest time at a training or at a fellowship event or at a dinner or something like that and not have any value. And with Zoom now, it's a lot easier. I mean, I enjoy not having to get on the blue route and sit in traffic for an hour and a half to go down to media. It's a wonderful thing. So the third key to my leadership style is it's an equal playing field. I just happened to be selected by the nominating committee about 3 years ago to be district governor. I am a Rotarian. That's what I am. My name just happens to be at the top of the list, and you know, and I just happen to be the contact with RI. But I'm a Rotarian. I like to get my hands dirty. I don't like to be in the limelight. I don't like to be in the front of everything. You know, I'm a leader. It's a natural thing to me. I'm a motivator, but I just don't like to be the center of attention. That's not the way that I am. It's not the way that I've run things. That's not the way I was taught to do things in my life. What I was taught growing up with my work ethic and from my father and the guys down at the firehouse was, it's the little things you do in an organization that nobody knows gets done that makes the organization run. And that's still the way that I plan to do things, regardless of my position, my title, or whatever. Just remember, it's not me, Kevin Katarynick, it's the title of district governor that we have to respect, and then we have to, you know, keep that distinguished honor, or whatever you want to call it. And that's exactly what it is. It has nothing to do with me. So if you have service projects coming up, please include me on your newsletter and things like that. I'd rather go out and laugh and you know, have a good time and do some service projects and fellowship than I would be to stand on the stage and preach to everybody. So with that, the other thing too is part of my leadership, not really in any of those categories, but we're all on an equal playing field, like I said. So I have open communication. Every discussion with me is two-way conversation. I'm open for ideas. I'm open for input. I'm open for criticism. If you want to call me and tell me that you don't like me and, you know, you think I need a haircut, which I probably do. But, you know, whatever. I'm open for that. If people are completely happy and you're not hearing from anybody, you're not doing something right. That's the way that I look at it. So at any point in this conversation, if anybody has something to say too, please just unkey and key up and you know, speak your piece or your idea, or your thought, or ask your question, or tell me I'm crazy. I've heard it before, and I'm probably going to continue to hear it down the road. So with that, remember, I'm here to work with everybody in the district. We're one big team. We're in an equal playing field, and that's just the way that I operate. When I talk about membership goals coming up, and I talk about foundation, you know, goals, or we talk about public image, we're one group. Everybody's responsible for membership and public image and foundation. Everybody's responsible to make Rotary operate and complete its goals and meet its mission of providing good in the community. So it's not just a membership committee, or it's not just a foundation committee. We're all part of that committee, whether your name's on that committee or you go to the meetings or not. We're all part of those committees. With that, I have some lofty goals in membership. They're going to be challenging. I've given the idea to my membership chair and the rest of the committee. I said, this is what I'm looking for. Let's go out and make it happen. I want to start 5 new clubs in the district in this Rotary year. It's going to be tough. However, we've recognized the fact that every club getting 2 or 3 new members isn't going to boost our numbers up. And the main reason why is because, as you know, you bring in 2 or 3 new members and 3 or 4 new old members leave out the other door. My club, sad to say, just lost 5 members since the beginning of the Rotary year. And it's not because they weren't engaged. They were older members, so we understand why they leave. One of them decided to move with his family out in Arizona. A couple of them have passed away. So we understand, you know, there's just things that you can't control like that. But keep in mind, we have to keep our members engaged. So, but the way we want to cure the membership ailment that we have currently in our district is to start 5 new clubs. And we're not necessarily talking breakfast or lunch. We're looking for new models, new ideas. We are targeting certain areas. We're working with the zone membership coordinator for our zone, who is a very analytic and numbers-driven guy. And we have a map of the district that pinpoints certain areas where there's high population, demographic of people that we can target, and there's no Rotary serving that area. There might have been a club there before. There might have never been a club there. It might have been green space that we were able to build upon, whoever's township or borough it is. But we're analyzing that data, and we're going to try to figure out how we can incorporate clubs or Rotary into that area, how Rotary can service that community. With that, I can tell you right now that the membership committee is targeting Roxborough, Manayunk area currently to put a club servicing that area. We are looking at different models, whether it's a passport club or it's going to be some sort of online club, but we're looking at different models to make that happen. We've also identified that there's a couple former Rotarians that live there that we can get to build the foundation upon this club. So we're hoping that we can get that to work out. In the meantime, I've gotten some other great ideas at a Council of Governors meeting because of the new 7th area focus being on the environment. Past District Governor Joan Batory brought a great idea up with doing an eco club. So we're looking into those things. We had another idea to look into a partner and spouse club. What can we do for our spouses and partners that aren't Rotarians? My wife attends everything because she likes to be there. She just can't make meetings because of other obligations. So what can she do if she's going to participate in service, or if she's going to a fellowship event? You know, how could she become a Rotarian? And in my group of friends within our governor class, she's the last one to not be a Rotarian. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can incorporate other partners and you know, or family members for that matter, but be inclusive with the people that are able to be part of that club. I also have a lofty goal of a net gain of 75. Now, I just put a number on that. I recognize the fact that I'm not going to hit that number. I'd be happy with a net gain of 7 or a net gain of 5. But with that said, I would be thrilled to put a screeching halt on that downslide of our membership. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to kind of stabilize that so Roger Taylor and David Houts can kind of pick that ball up and start running back up the hill with it. Our zone coordinator comes from a district that has a very, very positive membership increase annually. So our district, his district, 7390, we're going to benefit by his knowledge and his ability. And like I said, though, membership's everybody's responsibility in the district. So those goals I understand are lofty. And like I said, gave them to the membership chair and the membership committee. They didn't bat an eye at it. So hopefully here's hoping that we can stop the bleeding and get back on the right track with our membership. Foundation, of course, we know how the foundation works. The money that comes in this year will come back to us in 3 years. It's funny, there's nobody on here, but yesterday I had a couple meetings and I was picking out people that were on the meeting, like Stacey Ballard, Sean Murphy, and, you know, saying, well, you know, in 3 years when Sean Murphy's governor and he's over there going like this, and, you know, so, but in the money that we put into the annual fund this year will come back in 3 years so we can fund grants for the district, for our communities. I've tasked, I'll start by saying I want to keep in line with what Peter Mardinley, past District Governor Peter Mardinley, did last year, and he had zero clubs that were non-giving to the Rotary Foundation. So I want to continue on that track. I think it's simple to do. It's as simple as giving $25 from the club. You know, we're making a donation in the member's name. But I'd like to increase the foundation. I'm not going to sit here and beat the drum that, you know, you need to give more money, you need to give more money. That's not, I want people to feel that passion and find those projects that mean a lot to them and feel that Rotary pride inside of them and have that be the driving force behind making more of a donation to the Rotary Foundation. I know times are tough for people. Their businesses, they're out of work, they're on unemployment, you know, their business might not be doing well, might be struggling, and I get it. That's part of the reason why we waived the dues for the first half of the year this year for Rotary for the district. I felt that was something that was needed, and the board agreed with me. So, but I lost my train of thought there. So annual giving. So I've talked with Dawn DeFuria, who's the past district governor in charge of the foundation committee, and I'm tasking the committee. We've come to an agreement that we need to have better guidelines and rules on submitting applications. A club can just submit an application for $50,000 for a district grant, and we have to tell them no, we're only giving them $1,000 or something like that. So we're looking to put better guidelines so that there's better control on it, so that we're not coming up short with other clubs that want money, or other clubs that have great projects that we can't fully fund. So we're trying to redo the guidelines to make sure that everybody gets a fair shake at the money. Dawn did a fantastic job her year of raising funds and beating the drum for the Rotary Foundation. And I'm looking, like I said, I can continue that process. Past District Governor Mark Dinley also did a fantastic job. So I'm just looking to stay that course that they have, that path that they have created before me. Finally, the last thing that I've been preaching at every club, whether the club has their goals entered or doesn't have their goals entered, is just to make sure, one of my goals was for all presidents, every 51 clubs, to have at least 10 of their goals entered in my Rotary. My Rotary is completely revamped. It's easier to use, I feel. It's much more visually appealing. Rotary.org is still slow, as it always has been, but what can we do about that? I'm just asking a reminder, same speech that I'm giving to every club. Please, presidents, if you have not put your goals in, at least go in and put 10 of those goals in. It's a good way for Rotary International to track foundation, numbers and membership numbers and volunteer hours and things like that. And it's just a good way to also for the club to keep your goals and keep your direction. I know Jay was president last year. I know he knows what he's doing. I know there's the Philadelphia club has a lot of strong membership behind them too, and great ideas and great leadership. So I'm not really worried about making sure that you guys have good direction. I see that you have good direction. So lastly, we'll talk about getting our ducks in a row. As Chris said, I met Linda when I was asked to help coach a women's team. One of the girls that played and coached for the team was a good friend of mine. I was also running a co-ed team in King of Prussia at the same time. And I needed a couple extra women to fill out the roster on the co-ed team. So some of my friends have played on this team. Met Linda. I've seen her there before, talked to her. We ended up, I'm not going to go into details of the relationship, but that's how we met. We became good friends. And then we ended up getting married 5 years ago in October. Linda was in the Army National Guard. She did a deployment over in Iraq. She did 21 years in the Guard before she retired. I'm thankful she retired because she was getting ready for another deployment. And I'm not quite sure how I would have handled that, her going away and having to take care of things with her mother and her stepson, or her son, my stepson. Not quite sure how I would have been able to handle that. There was something new, something different that I wouldn't have been used to. But she retired. At her retirement party, we had we bought these little take-home items that we had on the table. They were rubber ducks, and they were dressed in camouflage. We had 4 different favors, if you will, on the tables. People took them home. It was a nice memento. Those 4 ducks from that group, they would travel with us everywhere we would go. So we would go to Niagara Falls, visit family up in Buffalo, go to Niagara Falls, we'd go down the shore, wherever we went, those ducks would appear. We would take pictures. She would take pictures of them storming the beach in Ocean City, playing patin, moving them around, and, things like that. And when my stepson graduated from Norristown High School, we bought graduation ducks. They were the same thing. They were put on the tables. People took them home. Linda and I got married. We had bride and groom ducks that we gave out with the cake, people to take home the cake, put them on a table, people could take them home with them. But unbeknownst to me, when all that was going on, we were getting other ducks. And there's like, we have a unicorn duck downstairs. I don't understand how that works, but whatever. But there's all kinds of ducks that there's ducks for holidays. There's ducks for occasions. And like, we have 5, 6, 7 Rubbermaid containers of rubber ducks downstairs in our back bedroom. I don't know what we're going to do with all of them. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But yeah, so it's kind of, I have ducks from Pittsburgh Steelers ducks. I call them black and gold ducks because we've taken Band-Aids and put the Band-Aids over the Steelers logo on the chest of the ducks because I can't have that. But we have ducks everywhere, and everywhere we travel, we get ducks. We went to Hamburg, Germany for the International Convention. We went with 4. We came back with 16. They were brought in from the De Furias were down in Berlin. They brought a duck back from Berlin. We had friends that were in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, before they came to Hamburg. They brought ducks. I'll tell you the story of getting hand-selected for security check by TSA coming back in the customs into the United States and having all 16 ducks. Next time we're together and we have fellowship, I'll tell you the story. Pretty funny. This guy was aggravated, but everybody else was entertained by the whole thing. So how does that play into my Rotary year and getting your ducks in a row? My trainer, Russ DeFuria, and I were talking about some things, and he gave me some ideas and some things to think about planning out my year, thoughts, what I wanted to accomplish, what I wanted to see, all that stuff. And he says to me, have you thought about having a theme? And I always joke that my theme would be I would drink to that. You know what I mean? Like, somebody comes up with an idea, and I was like, oh, I'll drink to that. We always joked about that. But I think a theme kind of is symbolic of the leadership. And get your ducks in a row kind of is along those lines of my leadership. Those ducks are in a row. They're going to a specific location. They're following each other. They're making sure everybody's in line. They're making sure, they're getting to their goal, whatever it is. Sleep, eat, swim, bathe, whatever those ducks are doing, they're going to a goal to accomplish that. And it's kind of the same way that I feel about this journey in Rotary. But it ties Linda into it because Linda's not a Rotarian, as I said. And not that she would need buy-in, but it kind of incorporates, and I'll say, our hobby, because it ultimately became my hobby collecting these ducks. But it kind of incorporates something that she loves and that she's passionate about with something that I love and that I'm passionate about. So when Russ pitched that idea, I thought about it, and I thought it was kind of goofy. But the more that I think about it, I think that the fitting that it is. That's why you'll see everything that sends out, any publication, any information that comes out from us on the district, on newsletter, whatever. There's ducks somehow associated with that. For those of you who have celebrated a birthday already and you received an email from me for your birthday, of course, there's a duck and a party hat on your birthday. So that's kind of the way I operate. Like I said, we're an equal playing field. We're all on the line. We're all working together to accomplish our goal. So I thought it was kind of, like I said, quirky, but I think it was a good idea and unique. So when I get to see you guys in person, I have, I don't know if I do. Hold on. Sorry about that. But when I get to see you guys in person, I do have Rotary Ducks for everybody. See the Rotary Duck? And we also are giving out T-shirts that we made up for the district this year. So you see, it says, be the change you wish to see in the world through Rotary, and then it has the 3 ducks in a row right here in the line. So when I get to see everybody, I have T-shirts and ducks. You can give the ducks to your grandkids or put them on your shelf, or, hey, if you want to, play in the bathtub with a duck floating around, I would. I'm not here to judge. But so with that, that's pretty much all I have. So, I'm open to questions. If anybody wants to comment or anything, I'm kind of thankful that Joan left, because I know sometimes that she can, she can lob some good questions in there, and I didn't want to look stuck when Joan started asking questions. But if anybody did something to you 3 years ago, in Rotary that you want to yell at me about, I'll take that. Whatever I can do to, to kind of to help, or if you have any questions, or if you want to know anything, or you want to know what we're working on or direction, by all means, just please, like I said, just open up and start asking away.
While people are thinking of questions, could I just request that we all pose for a photo? Governor Kevin, we'd love to get you, if we could all just smile with one of your ducks would be great. Yes. So let me just do this. All right, hang on. And and this, ready, smile. Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any questions?
Kevin,
Hey, Kevin,
so
it's
my name's
Homer.
Alex. It's not showing up. Actually, Bill, you want to go?
Sure.
I think I cut you off.
Thanks for the introduction of yourself. We know a lot more about you and your ducks. I really appreciate that. I have a question about Rotary meetings, and do you have a view, or does Rotary in general have a view when we will start getting back together in person? Is there some kind of a tipping point we can expect to say it's okay now with certain qualifications?
So I think it's tough, people, let me start out by saying Rotary International is not encouraging meeting in person. However, Rotary International is taking in consideration the entire world, okay? They're not taking into consideration Montgomery County, Philadelphia County. They're not taking those things into consideration. And I think that's the toughest part when we think about things with Rotary. We think Rotary North America, and Rotary International has to think Rotary globally. So yesterday at 7 o'clock in the morning, I attended my first in-person meeting. Actually, it was my second, but it was a hybrid model. So what they did was, it was Upper Main Line. There were 6 people at the meeting. They streamed the meeting. So I was at the front of the room. There was a iPad in front of me. They had the sound off. The iPad was pointed at me. They had the sound system. They had the laptop set up where they could see. They had the option to plug it in and put the other participants up on the screen. I was the guinea pig yesterday. I was more than welcome to do that. I was more than happy to do that. I'm encouraging clubs to leverage the technology if they can. I get it. What are we, 6 months into this whole thing? It's a lot. Not being able to see Rotarians, not being able to see your friends, not being able to, to work together to do things. It's a lot. I understand that. I'm encouraging clubs to do what they feel comfortable doing. If you can find a place where you can socially distance and you can get together and you're all safe, but provide an option for those Rotarians that don't feel safe or can't make it out there. I have one of our clubs in the district, they meet in a parking lot, like in a kind of a tailgate situation in a park. They might bring chairs and go sit in the park. They might just sit in the parking lot at their community center, but they meet in the evening in the park and they kind of just sit around and talk and have a meeting. They don't necessarily have speakers, but they talk about club business, they share things, they have a meeting, and then they go home. What I am finding out is, and this was asked to me yesterday by the Upper Darby Lansdowne Club, and I'm experiencing it at the King of Prussia Club too. What I'm finding out is that the lunch clubs on Zoom are not thriving the way the other clubs are, the breakfast clubs and the dinner clubs or the evening clubs. They're not thriving, and I think it's mainly because you don't have that opportunity. Like when you're at work and you could pick up and you can leave work and go to lunch, right? Not everybody wants to sit at their desk at work and eat lunch and get on the Zoom meeting. And I think that's kind of what's going on with our meetings. I don't know how your attendance has been at your meetings, but I think Upper Darby Lansdowne might be kind of experiencing the same thing. I just think that getting on Zoom at lunch while you're at work, it can be kind of challenging, or you're not able to get out of the office, so it's not a priority the way it was when you used to meet for meals. Other clubs are moving some of their meetings to in-person in the evenings or in the mornings, but like I said, they're doing things where they're socially distancing and they're protecting themselves and taking care and make sure everybody's safe. there will be an article a letter from me in the newsletter. I don't know how far we're going to edit it or change it, but so you're aware. A month ago, I was infected with COVID-19, and I am better. I feel great. I feel fantastic. But it wasn't carelessness on my part. So it's not like I don't not trust people when I go to meetings or, things like that. We had a careless worker, a coworker at work that had symptoms, didn't have a temperature, just kind of ignored it, and it came in and affected a bunch of people. So the one thing to remember is it's not your fellow Rotarians that you should have issue with. It's those other people that you're not quite sure, or, if you don't feel good, just stay home. You might have a coworker that's a little short on cash that day and has to come into the restaurant and do it. So just take those precautions. Don't put yourself in that position. I mean, I'm evidence that it can happen at any point, anywhere. So just keep that in mind as if you guys get together. But I encourage you guys at least seeing each other, whether it's a service project or you're able to meet outside or you meet with your happy hour club or whatever it is. Just take advantage of that. It's good for the soul when you get to see each other. Trust me, that even though I was at Upper Main Line yesterday and there was only 5 or 6 people there, it was nice to actually see Rotarians, so. But thanks for the question.
Alex?
Alex, you were.
Yeah, it's Kevin. So what you were just saying.
President-elect Alex.
Oh.
No. So the question that I had was, so when we're talking about boosting membership, right, for the next year, I was curious what the action items are for the district. Like, so we have the goal. So like, what are the actions? Just because like when I've talked to Jay about this, I can't tell if membership is the target or if it's a byproduct of something else. Do you know what I mean by that?
So sure. So for years we've treated membership as an individual committee. We've treated the foundation as an individual committee, and we've treated public image as an individual committee. And one of my main things is we needed to get away from that 5 years ago. But you need to leverage membership, the Rotary Foundation, and public image together to thrive off of each other. That video that you made, that's great for your membership, but it also shows, your community service. And, when people, I want to get my hands dirty, and they realize that you guys had a district grant for one of those projects. Oh, I have a great idea that, that we can get money for, or I'm passionate about, XYZ, and how do we get a grant for that? I tell my friends, and then they come in, and then they show that, the public image committee shows that, and wow, those are my friends, I should join Rotary, and it kind of becomes contagious. But we focused on numbers for a number of years, okay? We want to be at, I can tell you this, membership's critical in numbers wise is critical. We're getting to a point now where our numbers are getting a little questionable, and we might get on Rotary International's radar. And I asked the past district governors to give me the opportunity to, I hate this word, pivot, but I've asked them to give me the opportunity to put my ideas and my thoughts and my plans into place to see if we can get this to shift. And that's why we shifted from trying to get 1 or 2 new members into each club and focus more on increasing our numbers by increasing our number of clubs. I just had an idea, and again, I lost it. I'm sorry. But we're too numbers driven. And by that, I mean, we're looking at quantity rather than quality. And I have a feeling that if we start getting quality members, like as opposed to when I was president of the club, we got 10 new members, okay? We only lost 1 of those members within a year. We still had 9 of those members. Actually, we didn't lose that member. She transferred to another district, another club. So she was still a Rotarian, and I'm happy with that. Just as long as they stay in Rotary, I'm happy. But we were more focused that year when I was president of the King of Prussia Club on bringing in quality people. And we were doing that. We weren't just trying to boost our numbers. So like when I say to somebody, yeah, we brought in 10 new members, and they're like, oh, what was your net gain that year? And I'm like, 8, you know, because there was a couple other members, and they're like, oh, how'd you do that? You know, so I think we need to focus on the quality of person that we're bringing in Rotary as a whole, and not just so much on boosting the numbers. You know, I mean, Philadelphia Club could be at 500 people again, but you know, July you could be at 500 people, and then come June you're down to 75. You know what I mean? You can sign all those people up you want, but if they don't have Rotary in here, and they're not quality people, you know, they're just not meant for Rotary. Or we need to figure out a way to sink our teeth in them and keep them, and get them to be part of Rotary. So did that answer your question, or was I way off base?
No, you're good. I think maybe I'm looking at it too type A, just because my thought is it's tough to tell if, just from my own perspective, if boosting membership is a function of, like you're saying, understand all the reasons why someone joins a club, and then making sure that we get that in front of people, like the video that we made. The other thought is, when I think about and I'm relatively new to Rotary compared to other people in the call, so I think 3 years.
Right.
And I've served as secretary, and I am right now, I guess for a second or third year, I don't remember. But I guess where I'm going with this is, it seems that we've also, like over the past year, have attracted new members by enjoying the meetings more and having more engagement. Like you're saying, having quality members show up. And it's tough to tell whether or not it's a function of the meetings and enjoying them, and then people naturally kind of trickle in like a referral, you know, or if it's, I guess, positioning things more sales oriented, for lack of a better way of looking at it.
Sure, and I can understand that, and I think when you change atmosphere, I can tell you that one of the key things in growing our membership in King of Prussia was to change atmosphere. We moved from a local family deli, which we felt bad about leaving. We had been there for years, but we moved to Sullivan Steakhouse, and we created a different atmosphere at that point, and it became something different. And you know, there's energy, but that stuff, Alex, becomes contagious. So yeah, the meetings become fun. You know, quite frankly, you don't. So when I walked into my club, I knew a bunch of people there. I'd done a presentation. I knew a bunch of people there, but you don't really want to go to a club where you know, you don't feel, you know, engaged in that club, and you don't feel like you fit in. And I've been telling people, so I almost quit when I joined the club, because I wasn't quite sure how I fit into Rotary. And, you know, it's not my sponsor's fault, or, you know, anybody in the club's fault, but, you know, you get these acronyms thrown at you, and you need to donate money for this, and you need to come here, and we need to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And in my club, it was, Kevin was young, give him the website. Kevin was young, give him Facebook. Kevin was young, give him this. Kevin's young. We want Kevin to be president. Give him a couple of beers. He'll agree to be president. You know, and that's the way, you know, and they recognize, here's the other thing. Here's an exciting fact about me. This guy doesn't say no often. You know what I mean? All right, I'll take that on, you know. So, but I think you need to create that fun atmosphere that keeps the people coming back. Once you create that fun atmosphere at your meeting, here's a key to membership too that we don't really share with a lot of people. When you want somebody to join your club, don't take them to a meeting. Don't let a meeting be their first experience with people. Take them to service. Take them to Love Park. If you guys are going to clean up at Love Park and you have people that want to become members, take them to Love Park and have them clean up with you. You know what I mean? Take them to a service project and see those people get there. That's what Rotary's about. If they could come to their meetings and they see that you have somebody standing up there in front of you from a nonprofit with their hand, verbally with their hand out asking for a check, they're not going to be interested, you know? So I think the atmosphere that you create is key to getting them excited about Rotary. You know, I can go to any meeting and find fun in the meeting, you know what I mean, or be entertained. But we still have a lot of clubs. A lot of my past district or my current governor class, they still have clubs that sing. You know, they still have clubs that, you know, and the old version of Rotary we kind of need to do away with. You know, we laugh. Somebody made a comment to me that these felt banners that we have at some of these clubs, it's kind of like going to a Civil War museum. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's kind of true, but we need to kind of reinvent our image, you know, and once we recreate that image, public image, we get the memberships to start coming in, they work together, you know, it helps your club. And then when they find out the foundation's there, you know, and that they can get money for their projects, their ideas, you know, their passions, you know, they become a good Rotarian. So.
Perfect. Yeah, got good takeaways from that. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Because I'm in a different environment now.
Yeah, you're in San Francisco. We can hear you.
Oh, great. Just following up on what Governor Kevin said, I first joined the Westchester Rotary Club. It was a lunch club, very well attended. Of course, it's more as a community environment, and people were kidding each other during the meetings. We had one person assigned to hand out fines to people for different things. You know, your name appears in daily local news. You're not wearing your Rotary pin. What did I hear about this from somebody else about you? And we always had one or two characters in the club. I don't want to encourage this too strongly, but they could always be relied upon to contribute something really, really funny to the group. And then when I transferred to the Philadelphia Club, that was totally frowned upon. The Philadelphia Club was so formal that you could not utter a word during the meeting. And in fact, I think that one of my first visits to the club as a new member, somebody spoke out loud, out of turn, and was criticized for doing that. And that's when I saw a huge difference between the two clubs. You know, the Westchester Club was very friendly and informal, even though there were a lot of people there and many, many older people, but the Philadelphia Club was totally reserved. And, you know, we've never broken that mold. So just a little bit of a contribution about energy in a club, following up on Governor Kevin.
And I think Joan's right. And we find it, you know, each club has their own mentality, their own makeup and things like that. But, you know, like I said, you want that atmosphere to be quality. So in talking about, you know, those people at those meetings or, you know, those clowning around, things like that. So I'll share that. Hopefully this pops up. Okay. I was going to share a picture with you, but that's fine. So we had a discussion at a meeting. We had somebody from Lockheed Martin that was there and talked about global or about the space program and things like that. And she was talking about the members, you know, some of the astronauts or the people from the Air Force walking through the halls of Lockheed Martin, these athletes and these big guys, and, you know, and blah, 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 blah. Well, my sponsor, who is currently the president, again, of the King of Prussia Rotary Club, we laughed about that. We were like, yeah, you remember the day we were in space? And like, we were talking about, you know, yeah, they're built like us. Like, I used to be 310 pounds, so I was nothing like an astronaut, like not even close. That an hour after the meeting, I doctored up a picture. You remember how they used to sit in front of the moon, like the astronauts when they were going on the Apollo mission, they would sit there in their spacesuits, you know, pose with their helmets or whatever. I took a picture of that and photoshopped my picture and George Schaffner's face on top of the astronauts. And within an hour after that meeting, that picture went out through the entire club. And people still talk about it to this day. I think you need to have fun. And like Joan says, you know, each club has their makeup and their air and, you know, the things that they still do. But there's a lot of old traditions. Like I told my club when I became president, there's going to be no ties. Like if you wear a tie to work, that's fine, but please take it off when you come in here. I would show up. We had somebody that would show up for meetings. He would wear a sport coat, but he would have shorts and flip-flops on. You know, so I think you need to have fresh air and you need to have a better atmosphere. And I think you guys are on the cusp of doing that, judging by, you know, the pictures that I've seen and the things that I've heard and the energy that Jay and the rest of the Rotarians in your club are bringing. I think you guys have that going on. And I think you're changing, like Joan said, that, you know, the old day of, you know, don't speak, you know what I mean? And people don't like the fines that Joan spoke of, but I think they're entertaining. Like we used to kid about, you know, in the firehouse, you know, your picture would be on the front page of the newspaper. You're buying everybody a beer at the bar. You know what I mean? Because it was just, you know, you're doing good, but obviously, you know, you got your picture in the paper. So yeah, I mean, fines, not necessarily the way to handle that, but that good camaraderie, you know, and things like that. Like if it was in good taste, some of them weren't in good taste at all. I remember Phoenixville used to do it, and it was kind of entertaining because they would just randomly think of things, and you're like, what? Because I wore a purple shirt today? It was kind of funny. But I think we just need to clean up the atmosphere and that old style of image of Rotary that people have, and I think we'll be fine. And like I said, I think you guys are doing a good job of that too. I think you've kind of, you know, gone back up on the upswing, and I encourage you to continue doing what you're doing.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming today. It was really refreshing to hear your thoughts. Yes, especially that. And I'm only wearing a shirt too, so I thought I'm just kidding.
Really quick. Yesterday I was in Upper Darby Lansdowne, and I had a button-down shirt like this on yesterday, and I got up to go. I wear bottoms when I'm on these meetings, trust me. But I got up to go to do something, and I realized I had mesh shorts on. So my shirt tails were untucked, and I had mesh shorts on, and nobody commented on it. But I walked away, and I was like, oh, like I was like, uh-oh, you know what I mean? Like I don't want people to think that I'm walking around in like a pair of boxer shorts or something. My first online Rotary meeting, I rolled out of my bed, came upstairs. I have a vest that says Rotary on it. Put the vest on over my pajamas, and that's how I attended my first meeting as governor. Was in pajamas. So don't be ashamed. It's a beautiful thing, just as long as your camera stays up here.
That's true. Yeah, you don't want to see that.
So thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, a couple things on I guess a more serious note. One is that it seems appropriate to mention that for 1920 year, the members of our club achieved the Rotary Citation with presidential distinction, and we'll go over in details in a future meeting, but there were 7 goals that we met on uniting people, 4 on taking action, and the 1 presidential distinction. So congratulations to everyone in the club that really did this. Thank you. And then the other thing is we do keep some traditions. One is we thank all of our speakers by making a donation to Polio Plus each year. So we're going to inoculate 6 children in your honor.
Thank you.
So I think that's still a good tradition at Rotary. And then the final thing are happy dollars. We do them virtually, but if anyone has any happy dollars, I have one, and certainly that is for our district governor for coming here today and giving a very refreshing talk. Thank you. And if anyone else has any happy dollars, please. Lisa.
I have a happy dollar. I had shared with you several months ago that I was excited that this voiceover agent in New York City wanted to work with me. So he's been sending me audition opportunities. Well, I finally booked my first commercial with him, my first like big job with him, and it's a commercial for Miller Lite. So you're going to be hearing my voice announcing something at the end of a commercial at the it'll be on the internet, but when I can get a copy of it, I'll share it, and I'm really excited. So thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you get product, Lisa?
No product, no barter arrangement.
Any other happy dollars?
You can add a happy dollar or 2 to my pot, Jay.
Okay.
Also, a happy dollar for Governor Kevin speaking today. Thank you for that that great talk, and just you could tell you're just being yourself, which was great. That's what it's all about. So thank you for that. And a happy dollar to my daughter, who just started her 7th year of teaching, 6th year of teaching at this school in Berlin Borough in South Jersey, and she is teaching. Her school is open 100% full-time, which is a little different than most schools are. She's a little nervous about it, but she's a rock star, so she's gonna do great with it. So happy dollar for her.
That's great. Any others? Now, Lisa, we normally will do a member share section. I think we're out of time.
Okay.
Do you want to do
Kevin,
it?
do you have 2 minutes though? Can we just ask Governor Kevin if he wants to contribute and answer the question of the day? Because it's kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
relevant.
They have nowhere to go. So
Last week's presentation was about AI. So our question of the day, where we go around the Zoom room and ask people, members, just to help each other stay connected and get to know a little bit about each other. The question was, what is your home assistant? Do you have a smart speaker, an Alexa, or a Google Home assistant, or do you use Siri? And we just started to, but then we ran out of time. So anyway, since you and I have a little, we had done our shtick at the Sassy Awards, where I was the behind the scenes voice pretending I was Alexa, and Kevin and I were doing a little interactive thing. I just wanted to ask you the question: who is your home assistant? Who do you tend to use?
So I have an Alexa at my house. I use frequently. More and more, I'm starting to figure out more about it. I got it so that Linda could keep track of my schedule. So she could just say, what do I have today? And she would know where I was if I wasn't here. Unfortunately, that was before I was going to be sitting in my office in front of a computer most of my visits. But I do have that. And there's no pride in me telling you this, but I did find out through Twitter the other day that you can ask Alexa to play fart sounds for you. So it's been kind of entertaining. Like Linda would walk in and they would just be playing. She's like, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? I'm a little immature at heart. I'm a kid at heart. But when you ask her to stop, she goes, "Okie dokie," and that's the way. So it was kind of entertaining. I found out from somebody on Twitter that you could do that, and my sister was kind of floored because my nephew found that out like a year ago. So I don't, whatever. I'm a little behind the times, I guess. But I do have an Alexa. I use it quite frequently. I got it for the schedule, but I keep it for all my other data and information and news and things like that.
Great.
So
thank you, Governor Kevin. Keeping it real. We like that about you. Thanks so much. I'll turn it over to Jay again.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Lisa. And maybe we'll pick that question up again. We keep running out of time, which I guess is a good thing. Next week's speaker is Melvin Payne. He's the president of the Greater Philadelphia chapter of Tuskegee Airmen. Marva was able to get him through our member Lance Scott. So we're very interested in hearing that presentation next week. And before we depart, is there anything else for the good of the club? Anyone else, any of the members have a question, announcement, anything? All right. Well, with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you next Thursday.
thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. It was nice to see you today. Be safe.
All right,
Nice to see
take care.
you. Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye.